and you'll see the iris on them. It's horizontal. What you want to do is make sure that that horizontal iris is sitting in so it's right above the tear duct, kind of level with that right there, and that makes for a nice looking eye that way. What I do is I pinch off a piece of this epoxy sculpt, put it around the bottom here, in here, and that'll hold that in there. And we'll go ahead and I'll set that right in there, like so. Then what you want to do, you want to make sure you get some stuff around there, some epoxy sculpt around there so that doesn't drop out of there. And what I'll do is I'll run that up into the tear duct here a little bit, and that'll hold that. What you do is you just go ahead and smooth that out. It's going to get wet when you go ahead and just go ahead and have a little thing of water with you to smooth that out. And I'll get a little more, and I'll do the bottom. And that'll make for a real nice, makes for a good, I do this on deer too. Just go ahead and put it in there like so. And I'll show you what it'll look like when it's smoothed out. I'll get a little water here. And that way when you get, there's no sense, if you're using wet clay, and I've done this over the years too, tried and tried. I've tried wet clay. It will not hold in there, it'll crack. If you leave it the day before, it'll all dry out and crack and fall out with your eye. So what I do is I get that, when I get this ready to go, I'll set that on there to hide, get everything mounted up. Then I'll go back, my eyes and mouth are the last thing I do. And I'll go ahead and I'll detail that eyebrow in there, an eyelid, and you'll see when I do that, you want to follow a line similar to this here, right around there, and that way. Well, you can't do that when it's wet. You could do this when it was dry, but there's no sense in doing that. So I'm going to do the other eye, and then I'll turn this around, and we'll give you a 2-for-1 special today. I'll go ahead and get some roped off. Go ahead and just take a little piece and put it between your hands and go like this. Then you got a little bit to put in the bottom. That way your eye will sit in there. Getting the other eye now and getting another rope made. It's a fairly good way to do it. I used to do the clay and that, and then with this here you don't get a lot of the shrinkage either around the eye. You thin that eye enough, and what that does is actually lock. It'll actually adhere itself to the hide and help you with to control that shrinkage. Now you see I've got that iris lined up right above that, and what that does is make it parallel to the ground. And okay, I'm gonna go for the top eyelid, top this time. Put some in here. Just wrap it around there. Like I said, you're gonna have some that's gonna get another little rope, and I'll go ahead and put it in here. You can press that in there to hold it in place, and just squeeze it off there. And then what you do is, I smooth that out, but that really doesn't help, because once you put that hide on there, what that does is that flattens that out and smooths it out and all kinds of stuff. So and then when you press your hide in here, it'll push that out And you just got to remember to go ahead and mold that down with your finger on the outside of the hide. But anyway, that makes for a pretty nice eye, I think. It's now you might not do that for a taxidermy show or whatever, but for me, doing commercial work, that's about as good as it's going to get. I don't see many. It's a little bit more expensive setting your eyes this way, but I think it saves you when you when it dries a little bit, and you don't get that shrinkage. What I'm doing here is I'm filling in this joint right here with clay. That'll make it look a little better. And that way you won't have a little bit of a seam there. If your hide dries up there, you might see that. You might see a little line through there, and we don't want that. You just smooth it out, and that way you got everything ready to go. What we're going to do now is I'm going to get the horns ready. And I'll come back to this form when I get the horns, and I'll show you how to put the horns on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this here. I've got the horns here. Hold on just a second. I'll go get them. You'll see the horns here. I just got them out of the boiling water. Still smoking. I'm going to trim all this stuff off. What I'm going to do is measure from here to the back corner of the eye socket, and then I'll cut this so it'll fit this. I want to know where that corner of the eye is from this burr right here. You can use your fingers. I've got 4 fingers. On a deer, it's usually 2.5 or 3. I'll use